So Nebuchadnezzar's son says, you know what, we're taking this to the next level because we're going to take, remember my dad, when he conquered Jerusalem, he took all those wonderful, beautiful articles out of the temple, but he kept them stored away. No longer. Why should they sit in the dust? I'm putting some words on it. But he said, those articles of the temple, let's get them. Let's drink with them. Let's make merry with them. So they're all freaked out and hopped up, and they get the temple, the holy vessels of God. What are you called? The holy vessel of God. Treasure in earthen vessels. The holy vessel of God. Then to get the holy vessels of God and worship a false god, and then, boom! Mene, Tekel, Upharsin is written on the wall. And it freaks them out. And they said, you know what? Wasn't there a guy that was good at this kind of stuff? That Daniel guy your dad liked so much? Let's go get him. They drag old Daniel out, right? So Daniel's out there, and he knows that his spirit was coming. They said, look, if you can interpret this, I'm going to give you a robe, purple robe, necklace, all this good stuff. You're going to be an authority. Kind of similar to what Nebuchadnezzar had said before, but this time, judgment was sealed. And he says, look, you keep your robe, you keep your blessing. Because this means you've been weighed, you've been measured, you've been found wanting. At this night, your enemy's at the gate, and your throne's been taken from you. And amazingly, he's like, give him a purple robe. I guess he thought he could turn it back. Give him a purple robe, put the necklace on his neck, quick. But no sooner did they get that robe, try to get that robe on him, then the Medes and Persians come up in there, tear them all out, kill those people, but preserve Daniel. Daniel was preserved. That's another thing we want to hold on to. Well, what happens when God says, I created man in my image, and then I take woman out of man, because man is Aish in ancient pronunciation, and woman is Aisha, which means she came out of man, or she's revealing she's coming out of man. But when you come back together, then I call you Adam again. You need to read the whole Genesis account, because it says on the day he created the male and female, he called their name Adam. So this holy vessel that God creates, marriage, Jesus said, as it's written, and the scripture cannot be broken, the two will become one flesh. The holy covenant, I keep wanting to speak Armenian, I'm sorry, y'all. The holy covenant vessel, the holy covenant vessel of God. I read the Bible more in Armenian than I do English. The holy covenant vessel of God is now, wait a minute, in the highest court of the land, it's been filled with iniquity. It's been filled to worship another God. And even those that would worship God in spirit and truth are told, no, you can't. This is what you're going to do. You must defile. You must defile. Say defile and curse to me later if I forget. You must defile. Boy, it doesn't stop there. And then that night to celebrate it, the White House, by order of this Pharaoh who doesn't know Joseph, is lit up with the sign of this perversion of homosexuality. So it defiles the White House, which was founded and committed to God on the day that it was founded. It's now been desecrated. Marriage has been desecrated. But what is the sign of homosexuality? The rainbow. God's covenant sign to Noah, saying, I had judgment, but I also brought mercy. So spitting on the face of God's judgment and his mercy, light up the house to desecrate it of the desecration of the most holy vessel that God put on earth, marriage. To desecrate the vessels of God, you and your body. Whoa! Desecration, desecration, desecration. Sabbath, Sabbath, Sabbath. Seal, seal, seal. In this year of the Shemitah of the fall. But it doesn't end there. Oh my God. Peace, they will say, silent destruction. Peace has been declared by the nation that they chant death to America, death to Israel. There'll be no Israel in the next 50 years. And that would, you don't even have to have them say that. Just, I mean, the Quran says, or the Hadith, the Islamic prophecy says in that day, a tree will say, oh Abdullah, servant of Allah, come and kill. There's a Jew behind me. That's enough. Okay? So, there's peace. No, there's peace with them. And in fact, this new peace says that whoever breaks it, like if Israel were to attack Iran, America will fight against that person, which declares that we will fight against Israel. So we have been declared, this is not a Christian nation, by the Pharaoh who knows not Joseph. We've removed Jesus Christ, our connection in being sealed into the law, in the fulfillment. Then we cast off all morality and we worship Baal and Ashtoreth and Molech. But we're still blessing Israel, so as long as we're doing that, we're cool in terms of not total destruction. But then, boom, we cast off Israel and say, you know what, by the way, Jerusalem should be the capital of Palestine, all by the Pharaoh who knows not Joseph. And we have sealed our judgment. Period. I love you all. And I'm saying this to prepare you, not to freak you out. Because Israel really went into captivity in Egypt. Israel really went into captivity in Babylon. Israel really was cast to the winds of the earth, but God really gathered them and fulfilled His promise every time. So I'm telling you good news. Because where there is judgment for the unbeliever, for those who have turned against God, the seal has been set to them. The seal is a good news for you. Because what does that mean? That seal means that everything in here, I've got my wonderful Bibles, we'll use this one. Everything in here that God said about you that He's going to do, when that seal comes, boom, it's yours. And no one can take it away. That's why the Bible says in that day, let the clean be clean still. The wicked be wicked still. Because it's over. Sealed. When the judgment's sealed, that's it. You all know that moment. And this is in our weakness, trying to raise up our children. You know that moment when you've given, or those over whom you've had authority, if you don't have children, when you've given them a warning, and another warning, and another, then finally you see their heart is rebellion. And you say, okay, this is it. The punishment is levied. Boom! No Twinkies for a week. Boom! You're grounded.
No play.
Boom! No playing. But daddy, no, but daddy, no, but daddy, no. No, I gave you all those chances. I gave you mercy after mercy. But now, it's sealed. The punishment's going to happen. But there's good news about that seal. There's a story about the sealing of judgment in the book of Esther. The king of Persia, in that context of what we're talking about, the king of Persia, his leaders deceive him. They make him think that the people of Israel are his enemy. So he says, you know what? He puts this decree out that basically is going to mean the annihilation of the children of Israel. That they're going to be destroyed, captivated. They can't even fight. They have to just let it happen to themselves. That's the decree. But then, through Esther, who God, through her uncle or relative says, you've been chosen for this time. Chosen for this time. Through Esther, the king's heart is open, his eyes are open, he sees the truth. And Haman, who was the one who plotted against the people of Israel, the very stocks that he built to hang with Mordecai and others, he and all of his sons were hung on it. So even that which the enemy intended for the destruction of God's people was used to destroy the enemy. Okay, but at that time, the king says, look, I've already sealed the judgment. I've already sent the decree. It's going to happen. When the king put a seal on something, even he couldn't take it back. He honored his word above his name. Okay, so God says, I'm your king. I honor my word above my name. When I say something, I mean it. God's not like a weak human king that can be deceived. The principle is similar. The judgment was sealed. So he says, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to issue another decree that says, all you people of Israel, take up arms and fight. Because it's been given to you to fight. And because they did, woo, they won big time. So don't be upset when there's been a decree for judgment, because there can also be in that decree for judgment blessing for you, salvation for you, defense for you. But I'm not going to be helping you today if I tell you what Shemaiah. Who's Shemaiah? Exactly, who's Shemaiah? Even people don't know the Bible, you say Jeremiah and they understand it. Who's Shemaiah? I'll tell you who Shemaiah was. And I'm not casting railing accusations against him. I hope that he repented to God and made heaven his home. That's truly my heart's desire. But in terms of what he did on the earth and what is recorded in the Bible, Jeremiah, who God tells to put a wooden stock on, and he's prophesying with his wooden stock, and he writes a letter, and he sends it, and one time he writes a letter, or his friend writes it for him. They tear it up, and they laugh, and they throw it in the fire. Another time, he comes before the prophets. He's one prophet, and he comes before the prophets in front of the king, and they break the wooden yoke, say, no, God has broken the yoke. Shemaiah, broken the yoke. He did it a little bit different way, but I'm going to combine it. He's broken the yoke, and now we're free because the enemies of God will be scattered, and the enemies of Israel will be destroyed. They forgot the part that says, if you hearken to the Lord your God. And Jeremiah says, you've broken that wooden yoke, but one of iron, one of metal is going to be put in its place. And so nobody remembers Shemaiah because he was wrong. They remember Jeremiah because he was right. Jeremiah didn't get a lot of kudos in his day. It's because exactly what he said happened. And people were like, oh, Jeremiah, good deal. That's why Jesus said, which one of the prophets have your fathers not killed? To the religious leaders of Israel in the day of Jesus Christ. Because they did. They persecuted him, so they found out they were right. They'd be like, oh, that's prophet. What did he write? Yeah, let's get that. Let's not be ex post facto. Let's not be after the fact Christians. Okay? We've got to do it right now. The opportunity, the moment, the hour is now. And what I'm here to tell you is that just like Daniel, who his name is declaring that God is his judge. Daniel, he's taken out of Jerusalem, which I'm sure was super duper hard on him, super painful in his heart, with his friends. And then he starts getting some good position, but then his friends are about to be thrown in the fire and burnt. But God used that moment in history, which if they'd have been burned up alive and Daniel had come to nothing, nobody would have read about it, nobody would know who they are. They'd just be one of the other millions of people, I'm sure, that the king of Babylon killed. But because they stood and said, I don't care who you say I'm going to worship, I'm only going to worship the Lord, the God of Israel. Whether he saves my physical life or not, I'm going to worship him. And because that, they go into the fire. And actually, it's not in our Bible because we use different manuscripts. Don't get confused. The Bible's awesome. Even the different manuscripts, the variations, it's not something like, oh my God, it's this change level. No. But there was a song that they sang in the fire. And it's actually recorded in here, in this ancient Armenian Bible. A song they sang in the fire when the angel of the Lord was with them. They were saying, the Lord delivers from the fire and the water. Blessed be the name of the Lord. The Lord delivers from the moth and the rotter. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And they're singing in the fire. And people are watching them sing in the fire. And as they're singing, somebody else is singing behind them. And his visage is like the Son of the living God. And there's power. And there's a testimony. And lives. And a nation was saved and preserved until the time that they were sent back to their homeland.
Amen.
Oh my God.
Amen.
So, I wept because I saw that there was no one worthy to open the book or loose its 7 seals. And then one on my side said, fear not. The Lion of the tribe of Judah, he has overcome. And then I saw a lamb as though it had been slain, having 7 eyes and 7 horns, which are the 7 spirits of God sent out into the whole earth. And he opened the book and loosed its 7 seals. Woo! How many colors in the rainbow? Anybody know? 7. Who was that dude talking to John who had a rainbow over his head? And said, I'm going to send my 2 witnesses. The Spirit of God sent into all the earth. And as we see this seal, because it's God's very nature, for whatever reason, we don't exactly know all of that, but it's God's nature is wrapped up in 7. Because when you put the 7 colors of light together in a prism, what do they come out as? One white light. God is light, and in him there is no darkness. Oh my God. So God has put these things. Would you please stop looking at the hows and the little details of this and back up and see what you're looking at? People, as you heard me say it probably last time, people take a piece of a Monet and they cut it off and they take it to a lab and they analyze the canvas. Where did it come from? Is it an animal canvas? Is it some sort of plant canvas? Is it made from this ink? Is it got lead? Is it not? Doing that will never let you see the picture. And what the person who painted the picture was trying to tell you. Yes, I know the sunset happens because the angle of light changes and it refracts and reflects at a different angle, so you get different colors because of the wavelengths of light. I understand that. But it's just like that ink God used to paint a picture. So when you looked at it, you feel something beyond yourself and say, there's something more beautiful, something more wonderful just across the way. That you feel that draw in your heart when you saw the stars in the sky. And say, there's powers in the heavens. There's powers in the heavens, but the powers of the heavens will be shaken. When the sun comes up, it gives life to everything that's there. But even when we turn away from the sun, even when we are in darkness, we are preserved. What's going on here? God's painting a picture. He's telling a story. Every day that you live, every day that the earth turns, every time it goes around the sun, it's telling a story of the plan of salvation. Turn to God and be filled with light. Turn away from Him and you're in darkness. The earth has something really awesome that keeps us from melting during the day and freezing during the night. It's called the atmosphere. God is so holy, if you approached Him, you'd be consumed. And He's so necessary that if you draw away from Him, you'd be frozen and dead. But He's kept you in His grace. A moment of grace on earth. From the earth your body was taken. Adam means I came from the earth. I don't have time to get into that. So the earth is there being kept in an atmosphere. The light is still producing its life. But even when it turns away from the light, it's preserved in an atmosphere. Oh, but there's something in the sky at night called the moon. The moon, through the phase of the month upon which the Hebrew calendar is based, it goes from being full light, full darkness. And a special darkness comes about it when the earth comes in between it and the sun. In Isaiah, during a prophecy, an eternal moment breaks forth. And he says, you were in the garden of God. It's in Ezekiel 2 in a place. You were in the garden of God. You were more perfect than anything. You were beautiful. You were shining. Your name was Lucifer. There was none like you, but iniquity was found in your heart. And you said, I will ascend on high, and I will to the heights of the north, and I will be as God. And so you've been cast low. And it will be said of him one day, who is this that deceived the nations?